It is Monday, September 28th, 2020, and this is an update on the Three Gorges Dam and current events in China. We have 4 pieces of information to cover today, including a look at the water level and the live stream from the dam. Also, courtesy of the Epic Times, why did Beijing, Tianjin, Hebei sign a food security mutual aid agreement? Next, courtesy of Xinhua, China corn imports soar in August. We also have some new tweets. Let's hop into it. And a brief caveat before today's video. While researching for these reports, I come across information from various sources. Just because I decide to include a piece of information doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with it. I like to let you decide for yourself. Moving on. Checking in on the live streams from the Three Gorges Dam, we can see that the spillway angle camera remains activated, while the side angle camera is down and has been for a number of days. And now a quick look at the water level at the Three Gorges Dam. The current water level is 160.4 meters. The current inflow is not noted, and the current outflow is 18,600 cubic meters per second. It is worth noting that these numbers are released by the CCP. And over the past 24 hours, the water level is on the rise again at the Three Gorges Dam. It was about 159.8 meters just 24 hours ago, and it's currently risen to the 160.4 meter mark, still almost 5 meters shy of the official warning level. Upstream at Kuntan, the water level also continues to rise. As we can see, about 24 hours ago, it was 170.2 meters, and it's now risen to 171.4 meters. And I also found this pair of tweets to be interesting. They allegedly show the Chinese military running drills at the Three Gorges Dam just days ago. I'll include them with translations at the end of today's video so you can check them out. And this comes courtesy of the Epic Times. Why did Beijing, Tianjin, Hebei sign a food security mutual aid agreement? China is facing a food shortage crisis. On September 7th, during the CIF-TIS, that's China International Fair for Trade and Services, annual meeting in Beijing, a forum was held to discuss hot topics, such as maintaining the country's food supply chain. At this meeting, the National Food and Strategic Reserve Administration, or NFSRA, signed production and marketing cooperation agreements with 8 major grain-producing regions: Heilongjiang, Jilin, Liaoning, Inner Mongolia, Hebei, Henan, Shanxi, and Shandong. At the same time, the Food and Strategic Reserves Administration in Beijing, Tianjin, and Hebei have also separately signed a mutual aid agreement over food supply. Under this situation, Beijing, Tianjin, and Hebei entered into a cooperative agreement in which they would provide food assistance to one another in case of an emergency. However, this has the locals concerned about food security again. The 3 northeastern provinces of Beijing, Tianjin, and Hebei are the well-known cornerstone of China's food security. 1/5 of the national total grain output comes from these provinces. From August 27th to September 8th, in less than half a month, typhoons Bavi, Maisak, and Haitian have one after another directly hit Heilongjiang and Jilin provinces. Heavy rains and strong winds caused a serious setback to this year's harvest. The series of typhoons, paired with the long-term drought in Liaoning, has greatly affected corn production in most areas. According to reports from local agricultural sectors, corn production will be reduced by between 20 and 30%. The factual reduction in corn is bound to cause prices to rise. According to a report released by the Financial Association on September 10th, domestic corn prices have been constantly rising recently and have risen by 20% compared to the same period last year. At the same time, according to a report published by Bloomberg on September 8th, China may become the world's largest corn importer in 2020. According to Reuters, China has been ramping up its U.S. corn imports as the country faces its first real corn shortfall in years. A report released by the U.S. Department of Agriculture on September 11th showed that in the week ending on September 3rd, weekly corn export sales to China were over 1.1 million tons. China booked deals to buy 1.9 million tons of U.S. corn in the week ending on July 16th, its biggest weekly total of the yellow grain on record. Based on domestic and foreign data, it can be seen that there is a huge corn deficiency in China and the urgent need for corn imports. However, the NFSRA issued a notice on September 11th claiming that this year's autumn grain planting area has increased steadily and the current situation is generally normal. And if no major natural disasters occur in the coming months, this year's autumn grain is expected to have another bumper harvest. Autumn grain production accounts for about 3/4 of the annual grain production in China today. The severe floods that lasted for over 3 months this year occurred mainly in the basins of the Yangtze River, Hebei River, and Chao Lake. It was impossible to plant autumn grains immediately. Under the current situation, it seems impossible to deploy the so-called immediate replanting of autumn grain propagated by the Chinese media. Thank you for watching this video. If you're finding it informative, please consider giving the channel a subscribe. And this comes courtesy of Xinhua. China corn imports soar in August. China's corn imports surged in August, official data showed. Corn imports last month totaled 1.02 million tons, up 339.8% year-on-year, while the value reached 1.53 billion yuan or 225 million US dollars, up 312% year-on-year, data from the General Administration of Customs showed. In the first 8 months, the value of corn imports jumped by 52.4% year-on-year, while the volume expanded by 50%. China is expected to secure a bumper autumn harvest this year, with stable supply of grain, said Minister of Agriculture and Rural Affairs Han Changfu. Han said China's imports of food crops have been stable in recent years, with grain imports accounting for only 2% of its domestic output. And our last piece of information is a series of interesting tweets. And I think that's a good place to wrap up today's video. I hope that you found it informative, and check back soon for more content.